Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Just ignore this Steelers shirt that I have on, that disgusting display that we put on against the Chicago Bears. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just want to give you some thoughts on some things that happened with the Big 12 this weekend. I always feel like it's important to talk on Sunday about what happened this past weekend. Let's start with basketball. I mentioned, but before we get started, I apologize. Again, I'm frustrated by the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's got me flustered. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in the comments, and always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Steelers Almighty content. Big 12 Insiders come out. Oh, my goodness. I am so frustrated right now. I just can't even see straight. But I keep it authentic. No reason to start the video over because I had a Freudian slip. I'm not doing that. It is what it is. But again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already to Big 12 Insiders. And like I mentioned, always hit that notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Apologize, people. I apologize. But let's start with basketball. We missed a couple of opportunities on Friday that I thought that we could capitalize on. But no fear. It's basketball season. We still have an opportunity coming up. Look, Baylor has an opportunity. Creighton's not the greatest team, but Creighton's a good basketball team. That's a game we got to win. Big East opponent, we need to win. And the Big East is known as one of the better conferences in the – now, I'm not saying that it's us or anything like that, but basically basketball has a Power 5. Big East is part of that. That's a win. Again, put it in the bank. Kansas over Notre Dame. I know Kansas is without their best player, but Kansas has more than enough to be able to beat Notre Dame. I do have a side note about that, though. I apologize, KU fans. I apologize, Big 12 fans. I will be rooting for Notre Dame. Now, it's not for reasons that you think. The head basketball coach, Micah Shrewsbury, I've known since I was 3 years old. We grew up together. It's the only team that even when they play Louisville, and you know how I feel when they play Louisville, I still root for Micah. I'm sorry. It's never going to change. You grow up with a guy and he ends up being a head basketball coach. I don't care where he's at. I'm rooting for his team. So I apologize in advance, KU, but the facts still remain. Winning this game, again, against an ACC opponent, you can put that in the Big 12 bank, not only in your bank as well. Real big game, on Monday. Iowa State taking on St. John's. St. John's is good. They're good. So I think this one will be a big test for Iowa State. It's in Las Vegas. I think it'll be a huge test for them to see, look, any Rick Pitino coach team is going to be good. They're going to be well coached. They're going to get after you because they're going to play tough. But you could say the same thing about a TJ team. And I always screw up his last name, so I don't say it too often. But Iowa State, a litmus test. We'll find out. I think Iowa State's one of those people are kind of waiting and seeing on Iowa State. So here's an opportunity to wait and see. I like it. Houston, I don't know if Syracuse got a whole lot. I know they get a lot of pub because Carmelo Anthony's son plays there, but I'm not sure how good they are. We know how good Houston is. So that'll happen. And those are basically the games of note. I know Arizona State plays Texas. I'm not sure how good Texas actually is. We'll see. But look, we'll have our power rankings that come out here in 2 weeks for basketball. I'll be honest, Arizona State's going to be near the bottom. I just don't think they're going to be very good. Hell, their coach don't even have a contract for next year. Why they kept him this year, I still don't know. And that's just not me talking. That's mostly I get my information and take my P's and Q's from people that cover Arizona State and fans of Arizona State. And they're not – I wasn't high on the Bobby Hurley train last year, and it's back again. The train came back around. It is what it is, people. It is what it is. But that's what I got for basketball. Now, football, look, again, the best game of the entire year was that Utah-Kansas State game. Came down to the end. Utah made the plays, man. You got to give them credit. Their defense got completely embarrassed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It got embarrassed by a Kansas State offensive line, running game that had been I don't know, bad all year long. Let's just say that. It was bad all year long, and they completely ran over Utah. Just embarrassed that defense. However, in the end, they made enough plays. I know K-State fans will be screaming referees, and Utah fans, unless you're just not wanting to be honest, you know the refs played a hand in it. That's not the reason they came back. Look, Kansas State's defense didn't do anything either. Like, I talk about Kansas State running over Utah's defense, and they did. Utah did whatever they wanted to as well. So it's not like it was a one-sided affair or anything like that. Absolutely not. Utah did whatever it wanted to. The difference is that they threw the ball, and they ended up making enough plays to win. That's what good teams do. That's what good teams do. Did they get the benefit of some calls? Yeah, they do. But I'll say this. Don't home teams usually get the benefits of calls sometimes? Doesn't that happen? Now, I'm not saying that some of these weren't egregious, and it was. Come on, people. Be honest. You know it was. But that happens. Either way, you're up 10 points with, 7 minutes to go. You have to win the game. You have to win the game. That's all I'm saying. You got to be able to make enough plays to go win the game, and you didn't. And you allowed another team to drive down the field and beat you. That happened. It just happens. So hats off to Utah. I said yesterday that, maybe they'll take a hit. Don't be surprised if Vanderbilt's not ahead of them in the CFP come Tuesday. Do not be surprised. Do I think it's right? Nope. But I think it'll happen. I guarantee you I shouldn't guarantee it, but I'm telling you, you know how they do. They want to put as many SEC teams up there as possible. They'll look at the score. They blew out Kentucky. You struggled against Kansas State. Yeah, Vanderbilt's probably better than them, so we'll bump them up. We'll move Utah down. It's going to happen. So Utah fans, don't be mad at me. I'm not the one who's doing it, and I don't even think it's right. I'm just telling you what I believe will happen. BYU did its thing. Went on the road, beat a sound Cincinnati team, handled their business very well. LJ Martin, 222 on the ground. He's healthy, huh? He's healthy. And that's what he can do when he's healthy. So hats off to BYU winning a tough road game. And hats off to a team that I have literally been clowning for the last 3 weeks, TCU. Going to Houston, I didn't even think TCU would show up. But they did. And Houston, for the second time this season, can't handle success at home. They had a crowd there. I've been clowning them for not showing up. People showed up to the game and can't handle success and get beat by a TCU team that all you needed to do was play a little bit, and TCU may have laid down for you, but you didn't. So TCU said, okay, well, you don't want to knock us out? Fine. We'll take it to you. And they did. And they beat you. So there's that. Iowa State gets off the snide, blows out Kansas. We'll see about Jalen Daniels. He got hurt in the game. If he can't play, they weren't going to beat Utah anyway. But if he can't play, they're definitely not beating Utah to get to a bowl game. Colorado smoked by Arizona State. Hell, Colorado was running with a MASH unit out there. So we'll do the full recap, when it's time to do it. But those are the things that came to mind. Chris Kleiman was crying after the press conference against Utah. Look, I went to Kansas State, and some of the people that he's talking about being critical, saying that they need to get new coaches in there, new players in there. I'm one of those people. I say it because it's the truth. I'm not lying. I'm not going to pull any punches. I don't hide behind anything. It's the truth. Kansas State doesn't have good enough football players. And against Oklahoma State, it looked like they had quit. Now, you can say they didn't, but that's what it looked like based on their effort. The effort was different against Utah. Period. End of story. But for you to get on TV or in a press conference and cry and be mad at the media for being on you about the team that you put together that isn't good enough, well, whose fault is that? Like, don't be mad at us. We didn't put the team together. We're not out there playing. And if you want to say, well, you don't know what it's like. Yeah, I do know what it's like to play. Yes, I do. Now, it was 100 years ago, but yes, I do. And all I'm saying is if the team's not good enough, that's not our fault. And people want to point that out. That's not their fault. So there's always going to be crazy lunatic fans out there that you don't even take seriously. Okay? But there's also going to be people out there that are just telling the truth. And for you to be mad and I'm over it. What are you over? Like, what are you over? You're over guys, that people that are just saying what they see? Stop it. Nobody has to be just blind faithful to Kansas State. They don't have to do that, man. No. Kansas State fans are proud fans. They just want to see their team compete at a high level every single week. Is that realistic? No, because every team doesn't play at a high level every single week. Even the best teams have their moments in games. It happens in a season. But what they're upset about is because the team isn't good enough. They don't have good enough players. That's why they're upset. Okay? And you can't be mad at fans for pointing that out. You just can't. You know? And again, you're going to get the lunatic fans that you don't even take seriously, because they're going to be mad at you. If you gave them $1 million, they'd be pissed that you didn't put it in their bank account, that you just handed it to them in cash. That's how I describe crazy fans like that. You're always going to have those. You take it out on everybody because people are talking about your football team that's underperforming? Should they just say nothing? Stop. You can say that I'm wrong. I really don't care. But the bottom line is you can't be crying and whining to people that people are talking bad about your football team that's underperforming. It happens. If it wasn't underperforming, they wouldn't be saying that. But it is. But that doesn't mean people have to shut up. I'm on my rant. I'm done with my rant. I apologize. But I thought it was important because he's talking about me. I'm not the only person, but I'm very critical of what I see from Kansas State because I went there. And you're not going to call me and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, because I know what I'm talking about, and what's going on there just isn't good enough right now. Period. End of story. Sorry about that, guys, but what has to be said has to be said. Appreciate you, and I will talk to you guys later in the week. Y'all have a good one, man.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.